Hello, my friend. Welcome to this episode of Living in Sync. I'm your host, Joelle, and it's been a while. This summer, there has been inconsistent episodes. We'll talk about why, kind of a hiatus, but I just want to remind you that now that this podcast episode isn't at all a lead into my business endeavors, this is just fun and creative for me. And I wanted to chat. I was feeling a little bit inspired to get behind the mic with some fun topics. I've got a podcast episode laid out for picky eaters. That's a question I've been getting lately. And what I'm decluttering before my kids go back to school. But I can't just throw out an episode that's heavy on a topic and tips without just chatting with you. So let's talk about the struggle bus that has been this summer. This summer has been full of great moments. Don't get it twisted. But also, this summer has been really blah and challenging for me in many ways, mostly mentally. This summer has been a struggle. And I know I did a June update, but when I'm talking about July, there are so many great moments. My youngest turned 7. We had 4th of July with family. That is just absolutely amazing to be around. And then there's also been such inner turmoil going on for me mentally and emotionally. And then there's also been the Canada fires that's been making it gross and unsafe outside. And both of my kids kind of caught colds, and I don't know if it was related to the fires or if it was an actual summer cold. I kind of feel like I'm catching on to it now, which it's like it's been in my house for quite a while and now I'm catching it, which kind of stinks. But that is just the truth. And actually, I caught one of my neighbors on a walk one day, and we walked up to each other and she's like, "Oh my gosh, hey, how are you?" And I took a breath because we were kind of still walking towards each other, and I just knew I don't have to give the surface answer. And she's also a mom that works from home, and she has her kids at home with her during the day, and they're busy in activities and all of the things. And I was just like, hey, to be completely honest, I'm ready for this summer to be over. This summer has been hard. This summer has had just a handful of things going on where I'm like, I'm ready for a reset in September. And not that like my schedule is going to change a lot, because I have been super blessed with an incredible routine and schedule in the summer. I wake up and I have coffee with my husband. We've been setting our alarm to quite early so we can just sip on our coffee or our caffeine of choice in the morning and wake up slowly and gently instead of like rolling out of bed, attending to the kids, him getting ready and off to work. We're just having like more of a grounding morning. And then I will get my workout done, or else I do that after I've dropped the kids off. It kind of depends on what my workload is for the day. I bring the kids to their day camp program. They've had that 4 days a week this summer, and it's been absolutely incredible. I feel comfortable saying that now because it's coming to an end. I don't know if we're going to be doing that again next summer, just because there were positives and negatives to that. And so I'll just make that decision at the end of the school year in 2026. But I bring the kids to their day camp, then I get to work. Then I do have a full client roster right now, still working and producing for a handful of amazing entrepreneurs. A handful have taken breaks simultaneously at different parts of this summer. And so I've had a little bit more space in my days, and so I work, but then I also have time to relax, which is good, because if I sit in front of my computer that entire time, I mean, I've been feeling, we'll talk about my back pain. Actually, I don't even have it on my list to talk about those things, but having a sedentary job is starting to weigh on me, and I'm having to be even more intentional with that. But that's been my routine for the summer. And then we get the kids. We were not in overwhelm of their schedules and their activities. And so some nights we had schedules and activities and other nights we didn't. But a lot of the nights we couldn't even go outside because the Canadian smoke fires were so bad. And I know some people are still out living their best lives in the smoke, and to each their own. But like, we have had these kids with colds, and is it related? And I don't know. And my husband says like it even affects him. He's had like a couple work related golf things, and he comes home and he's like, I feel it. Like if I feel it, I know the kids feel it. So that's been what we've been working with in Minnesota this year. And workouts, kind of an update. I have changed up my workouts a little bit. For a long time, you guys know I was into the Nourish, Move, Love workouts, and man, they are a challenge and they are empowering and they're incredible. But I was starting to notice that like my body was not recovering well. And if I went insanely crazy, I could not have sustained energy for the rest of the day. So I made a switch to lifting slower and having my workouts be shorter. So I am doing a mix of lifting, and I'm following the program. I can't even believe I'm saying this because with me being tied to Beachbody for so many years, when we got the news at the end of September, I was like, this is my opportunity to try all of the other things. And I always had dabbled, but I was like, okay, this is fully permission. I do not even have to show up or share any type of affiliation that I have with this company. But I love Joel Freeman, and he came out with a new workout program called Speed Train 25, I think it is. And a couple of my friends were telling me about it, how they were loving it. It's 20 minutes, it's not going to tank you. You're going to feel like a challenge, but it's more for consistency. And when I'm thinking about myself, I would much rather be a little bit consistent every single day versus and I still love her, Melissa Kender, but she coined the term hard days hard, easy days easy. But when I was pushing myself and being really hard on my body, I couldn't recover. Some of those hard workouts would take me out for like 4 days. And if I didn't recover properly, it just delayed my fatigue, or brought on my fatigue, even made my fatigue even longer. So now I do my speed train workout, my lifting session, and I'm doing that like 5 days a week. And then I'm doing cardio after lifting, and that cardio looks different based on where I'm at my cycle, where my energy is, how I slept. Sometimes it's a slow pace walk at 3.0 speed and I'm just steady state and I'm scrolling or I'm watching a YouTube video. Sometimes I do a Peloton power walk. Sometimes I hop on the spin bike. I miss running. You guys, I was telling my husband this last night. I miss running. I really miss running. And you might say like, well, why aren't you? Mostly because of the Canadian fires. It is, and it's been really humid and gross outside. I really think like spring and fall and then treadmill runs in the wintertime are the best time for running. But I just haven't wanted to run outside. And it's made it gross and unsafe with the fires and whatnot. Like I'm not even doing my walks outside. I'm doing most of them on my walking pad, which when that walking pad kicks out, I am going to be getting some type of treadmill, and we're going to be in the market for like a good quality. It can't be super, super heavy, but one that I could like run on. I don't know if that exists. If you have any good recommendations, let me know. But that's what I've been doing for my workouts, and it's been really great because it's been sustainable. Like I did 6 or 5 workouts last week paired with my cardio after my lifting, and my body felt great. It felt great. I really felt like I could recover in a really good way. Now, here's the thing. I'm having to modify and do different exercise for some of the movements because of sciatica, back pain that I've been experiencing. It was about a year ago. my back started to go out of whack, and I was going to a certain chiropractor and it would get a little better, and then something would just like lock it up or knock something out of place. And I notice it a lot with hip hinging movements. So I've been kind of nixing deadlifts or hip hinges of any kinds, and instead I'll do step ups, which step ups are so underrated. Like, I see so many ladies doing glute bridges and hip thrusts and deadlifts and hip hinges when, do you want to know what targets the booty like big time? A step up. It's insane. It's insane how I'm even really seeing how like it is truly engaging like the glute muscles. So caveat to that when I'm doing Joel's workouts is just know, like, if he's doing a deadlift or a hip hinge, I'm either sumo squatting or I'm doing a step up in some sort of way. Or I'm even doing more split squats, just really focusing on that glute med. But I am going to start working with a new chiropractor, TBD, if it's truly helpful. But I'm doing more things personally, like standing at my standing desk, or if I'm editing an episode that's over 20 minutes, I'm going up to my walking pad and walking really slowly. I wouldn't even count it as a walk. I'm just like taking really small, short steps, but I'm standing. And I think that's really helping. I now know a handful of like movements that are really helpful for sciatica and things like that. But there's still things like if I want to vacuum my entire upstairs, it throws my back off. And this last weekend, I actually told my husband, I'm like, you've got to take over the vacuuming, because I don't want this to, and I know it does stem from like a weak core and weak glutes and weak low back, but I'm working on it, right? But I'm like, I just can't vacuum upstairs and then have my back be tender for 3 days. So new chiropractor I will be working with, which will be really fun. Nutrition, I think I kind of talked about this in my June episode, maybe not, but just to touch back on it, is in June, like things just got kind of crazy. As you guys know, I was tracking my food really heavily for the month of, for many, many, many months, like January to end of May, I was tracking literally everything I was eating. And then June got kind of lax. And then I stepped on the scale and I was up 5 pounds of the 15 that I lost. And I was like so frustrated. I was like, okay, it was so hard to lose 15 pounds, but it was so easy to gain it back. And I just want to be real and open and honest that even somebody like me, a certified nutritionist, I went to school for dietetics, like I still have to be in check. I still have a lot of struggles when it's coming to nutrition. And I'm really starting to, and I'll probably have more episodes on this at another time, but I'm really starting to dig into like, what is it and why am I reaching for food at certain times when it's not necessary? I've gotten really deep. I might even start to go back to counseling just because of it, because it seems like I use food the same way somebody would use alcohol. Like when you're looking for something to like help you feel better, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm going to grab 3 cookies and a handful of chips, right? And I don't overeat. Like it's not a complete binge, but it's just like a hit of food that I just consume, and then I feel guilty about it, and then I feel ashamed, and then I'm like, and that's why I've slowly gained this weight, because I'm not gaining, like I'm reading this book right now, and she was like, people often think if you say I have a food addiction, they imagine that you would be like 400, 500 pounds and just constantly shoveling food into your face. And that's not the case at all. So that's kind of where I'm going right now. But I am back to tracking and using it as information. Supplements I've been really loving is I've taken it on Instagram a couple of times, but they have this brand at Costco. It's Orgain, Orgain, something like that. But their creatine and their collagen plus probiotics, so those are 2 separate supplements. The creatine is one, the collagen and probiotics is another. You guys, I truly have been seeing hair growth again and feeling like my hair that has the new growth is better than it's been in years. So that's really cool. Something crazy is in the last month, so like in July, I got off of berberine. I was testing out berberine by Protea, and I was taking that. I hadn't talked about it because I didn't know if it was something I wanted to recommend, but I had been taking it for a long time. And that was when I was losing weight. And I don't think it was the berberine. Or berberine. I think it was truly the ingredients in there help with digestion and also help with blood sugar regulation, that I was able to control my cravings and like I could control things a little bit better. My food noise was down. And I know people that are taking GLP-1s and various medications like that talk about how like the food noise is gone. I wouldn't say mine was gone, but it was more manageable. So I've gotten back on berberine, and I've also gotten back on Baseline Plus. I did ChatGPT if those two supplements were things I shouldn't take together. And according to my ChatGPT, which is not a doctor and neither am I, but they were both fine to take together. It wasn't anything that was going to just be over, because I do think, here's some hot takes. I do think the next thing that people are going to be worried about is the liver damage that is, and kidney and the digestive issues that are actually going to be coming out in the next like 5 to 10 years on the harm that supplements are doing. Because I don't think our digestive tracts, I mean, there are some people who take handfuls. Like truly, I feel bad taking 4 capsules a day, and then, well, I don't feel bad taking my creatine and collagen and probiotics together because those are powder. So I'll usually put those in my hydro jug. I put some type of flavoring in it, whether it be electrolytes or whether it be a pre-workout or something like that. And I mix it all together. But there's going to be a lot coming out on like, okay, it is good to support your body with supplements, but you cannot be over excessive with it, because our body is just not meant to filter it in such high doses in a flood. The second thing that I think is going to be very popular in the next 5 years is wearing wrist night guards. My husband and I have started to use these. They were recommended to him by, I don't remember who, but he has struggled for a long time with like aches and pains, and when he overuses like his grip strength or fine motor skills basically, and he was told to use these night guards, and he's consulted a couple professionals about it now, and all of them are like, oh yeah, those are so helpful because they keep your wrists in a neutral position at night. And with us working on computers and working from our phones and scrolling on our phones and using them so much that, and even when we're sleeping, and I notice this big time when I'm sleeping, I curl my wrists in. Like I really jam my wrists in. So we're both wearing these wrist guards at night, and they have helped so much with like just my everyday hand. It wasn't that I was experiencing pain yet, but I was starting to like feel the tension and even the weakness of overusing them. I don't know. But those are my 2 things. Excuse me. I swear I'm catching what it is the boys have, so my voice is a little bit tender right now. But I talked about in the beginning of this, like, I've really felt off this summer. I've shared with a couple of my friends, like, and even my mom, that I'm so grateful I have healthy coping mechanisms. And I would encourage any of you that when you're feeling in a funk or when you're feeling a bit down or whatever it is, anchor in to any kind of healthy habits. And I don't mean healthy habits as in like what the wellness space is telling you to do, like cold plunge and 10K steps and all of that. Anchor into truly things that are settling and simmering to your soul. And some of these things for me were just like get ready for the day, make my bed, work out. And even, and this is why I prefaced and said this is not meant to be like, oh, do the things the wellness ladies are doing, because I have been, and I don't even want to call this a bad habit, but I've been having a habit of like in the afternoon, I sit down on the patio outside and I have some sort of fun beverage in my hand. It is not alcohol, but most of the time it has been like a dirty Dr. Pepper. Not dirty in the sense of alcohol, but like I take a Diet Dr. Pepper and I add a True Lime packet and a splash of coconut creamer. I got one of these from like a soda, not a soda shop because it's like a food truck essentially. But I got one of those in the beginning of June and I was like, I need to make these at home because I don't live in a spot where there's a lot of options to like swing by and go grab something. And it's way cheaper to make at home and way faster. So I'm like, I just make one of these and go sit out on the patio and just listen to the birds. My dog walks around in the yard. Oftentimes I'll like Voxer my friend or sit in silence or read my book. It just depends on the day. And that has been a healthy habit for me. Now, is a Diet Dr. Pepper, quote unquote, healthy? You know, honestly, I went to ChatGPT because I was drinking all's and I was like, these do not make me feel good. I am sorry, but like those energy drinks make me feel like trash. And they have 200 milligrams of caffeine. Like, that's a lot. That is a lot. I was starting to feel way more anxious. And so I did like ask ChatGPT, like, truly compare to me the difference between a Diet Dr. Pepper and an allll. And honestly, I wanted it to give me the information that they were both equally the same, even though all's have been branded by the wellness community as like, I have an allll and I'm a healthy person who works out and eats healthy and all that, so therefore this allll is healthy. That is not the case with energy drinks. Like, just because it's an allll does not mean it's a healthy energy drink because it was created by two people in the fitness space, okay? Trust and believe. Not good. And then I also got the sparkling blue raspberry lemonade protein from Costco. That comes in a can, and that's okay. It's delightful in the sense of it's good and it's got protein in it, but flavor wise, like, I kind of prefer the Diet Dr. Pepper. But I told myself, like, when the kids go back to school, I'm not going to anchor into this Diet Dr. Pepper. But that Diet Dr. Pepper at 3:30 in the afternoon, it just hit. It still does. Like, I'm honestly looking forward to it right now. And so I thought in June, when I was feeling off, feeling kind of down, feeling kind of blue, I thought it was in relation to my tummy bug. And I say this because it is very common that after you have gotten antibiotics, or, you know, if you went through a surgery and they gave you antibiotics for whatever reason, you needed those antibiotics, right? Or a stomach virus where something just really affects your gut really, really quickly. It is very common and makes so much sense that it could cause you to be in a bit of an emotional funk for like 2 to 3 weeks. But this was lasting longer. This has lasted longer. I'm literally recording this and then going to upload it the day I'm recording. It's August 12th. And I can still say, like, I can definitely say me, you guys, actually, I was just going to say me, July 12th was in a really bad place. Like, frantic, freaking out over small things. Like, I do not know what was going on. And that was when I was like, okay, I've got to, like, I don't even know. I've got to anchor in to these healthy habits. It's not just from the June tummy bug. Like, something's got to give. And I've been able to navigate it and kind of just accept the season and know that, like, it's not always going to be like this. There are going to be better and brighter days ahead, but I'm really grateful for anchoring into what I have, being around others. That has been really helpful. I mean, when I start isolating, I go to a deep, dark place, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot for me to go out and be social. I'm sure a lot of you relate to that. Like when you're not in a good space and place mentally, it's really hard to get out of the house. But it's one of those things where it's like, once you do, you're like, I'm glad I did that. And that's kind of what I'm anchoring into when I say anchoring into healthy habits. I'm trying to anchor into those things where I'm like, okay, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I met up with that person. I'm glad I sent a text to that friend. I'm glad, that I mean, even this month we had in our small town is very much like a little Hallmark community. There was a community event with like bouncy houses and face painting and free food for the community that was at one of our local parks. And you guys, like, I had to drag myself there. And my husband was out of town for work. My oldest knew that was happening that evening. He was like, are we going now? Are we going now? Are we going now? And I was like doing mental gymnastics of trying to get out of it. But it's like, I'm going to go. And when we went, I had a great conversation with a couple wonderful people. And I came home and I was like, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I did that. And I still am trying to really finish out the summer doing that. Like we've got a couple things going on in the next couple weeks that are upcoming that we're really looking forward to. And when school starts, my regular routine isn't going to change that much. It's going to be about the same. I brought my kids to and from their like day program that they've been going to about the same time that they go to school. I pick them up about the same time that they'll get off the bus. The only thing is they'll go Monday through Friday. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to still continue. I'm still super content with the client load I have. I still am super content with like the other endeavors that are going on. I'm still super committed to bettering my health, even if I'm not seeing results and progress, because I know doing weights for longevity, I'm going to be so glad when I'm 40 and 50 and 60 that I was lifting weights and consistent with that. For heart health, I'm sorry, but you've got to get some type of cardio in. Like, you've got to get some type of cardio in for your heart health. And I've really been enjoying like my power walks and my spin classes that I don't really go over 20 minutes on spin. It's not long bouts of cardio. And I think even when I get back into running, I'm not going for like anything over 4 miles. I'll probably stick around like 2 to 3 miles and just really work on enjoying it. Like some of them will be slow, steady pace. Others will be intervals. Some will be walk runs, like just really enjoying the movement and enjoying that it's a deposit in my longevity. So there is that. And I hope you guys have had a great summer. But if you've had one similar to mine, or if you've had a really great summer and you've got a different mindset about it, please slide into my DMs. Let's have a conversation about it. Connecting with you guys post episode is like my favorite thing ever. It really, really is. Thank you so much for listening. Living in Sync really is just about being in the season of life that you're in. This is the season of life that I am in, and I'm going to be focusing on, this is a lifestyle podcast, podcast professionals, even myself. I'm like, lean into a niche, become known for a specific topic. But like, I get to use this as just an outlet. And as you guys know, I'm not one that like loves showing up long form on stories or TikTok or videos. Like, I'm not an aesthetic girly. I want to just have a conversation. And that's what I feel like we get to do together on here. So don't forget to slide into my DMs, share with me something that really hit home for you, or what episodes you would like to hear from me. I would also even love to bring on more guests in the conversational space of things, and I will talk to you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.